Okay, here I go. First parabola, second parabola. And here are my solutions, where the parabolas cross. Next, 1b says a line and a parabola with one real solution. Okay, so here, let me draw this parabola and a line that touches it in just one place. This is a line and a parabola with just one solution. The line just barely touches it. Right there. 1c says two parabolas with no real solutions. Okie dokie. Here's my first parabola. Here's my second. Since they never cross, they have no solutions. Moving on to number 2. Use the graph to solve the inequality. X squared plus 6x plus 10 is greater than 0. Well, what I see is a graph that is always greater than 0. So the answer is all real numbers. Because this parabola is always above the line x equals 0. Number 2b says, use the graph to identify the solution to the inequality. So I want to know, when is my parabola less than the line? Or equal to? When is my parabola less than or equal to my line? Question mark. Okay, well, equality is allowed, so where they cross is part of the answer, and everything below the line I've just done in pink. And since my inequality is in terms of just x, my answer will be in terms of just x. So x can be -2. If this did not have equality allowed, then I would use the other symbol. And x can be all the way up to 3.5. Now, if I had been asking when is the parabola above that, it would have been a different answer. It would have been x is less than -2 or equal to, and x is greater than or equal to 3.5. But we have a nice situation here. Okay, number 3 says, to solve the quadratic inequalities, we have to choose one to solve graphically and one to solve algebraically. Both can be solved with either method. All right. Well, I see this one, and I do not want to solve it algebraically because I would have to expand my x plus 2 squared and then subtract x from both sides. And then maybe I'd have to use the zero product property. Maybe I'd complete the square again. I don't know. But in any case, the fact that I have this x right here makes this one hard to solve algebraically. So I'm going to graph it. I will graph my parabola part first, and I'll do it in green. So this is a parabola centered at -2, 0. With a step pattern of 1. So I go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up, I don't know, 5. It's up there somewhere. And then I connect with a smooth curve, as smooth as I can. Okay. Now I'll graph the line, and I'll do it in blue. So I'll start at my y-intercept, which is 4, 0. And then I go up 1 over 1, because the slope is 1. And I'll go in both directions. Okay. So I've found where the quadratics cross. sorry, the quadratic and the line cross. And now I need to know, well, where is this quadratic less than or equal to that line? And it's here, everywhere that it's below the line. So the solution set for this one is x is greater than or equal to -3, and x is less than or equal to +4. And that's that. On to the next problem. I have x plus 3 squared is greater than or equal to 4. So to solve this algebraically, I'm going to set the two equal to one another. It's going to be x plus 3 squared is equal to 4. Right now I'm finding my boundary points. So finding boundary points. And I'm going to use equality to do it. I take the square root of both sides, and that gets me x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus 2. This becomes two equations. I have x plus 3 equals +2, and x plus 3 equals -2. I subtract 3 from both sides. I get x is equal to -1, or x is equal to -5. These are my boundary points. That was step 1. Step 2, I'm going to plot my boundary points and test values on either side of them. So test around boundaries. So I have one boundary at x is -1 and another at x is -5. And I will use, it doesn't really matter. I'll use -6 to test. I'll use -4 to test. And I'll use 0 to test. Okay, so testing -6. Is -6 plus 3 squared greater than 4? Well, that becomes -3. The answer is yes. 9 is greater than 4. True. So there are solutions here. I know there are solutions on the boundary because equality is allowed in my inequality here. It's a closed circle. Okay, now I'll test -4. Is -4 plus 3 squared greater than or equal to 4? And no, false. So no solutions here. Then I'll test 0. Is 0 plus 3 squared greater than or equal to 4? And yes, 9 is greater than or equal to 4. That's true. So I also have solutions here. That means my answer set, my solution set is x is less than or equal to 5. Sorry, -5. Or x is greater than or equal to -1. Both are allowed. Okay, next problem. Where x represents the number of items produced and sold, R of x is the revenue, and C of x is the cost. The company's revenue and cost functions are modeled by R of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3, and C of x equals -x plus 2. Determine the profit function by subtracting the cost from the revenue. So I'm going to do R of x minus C of x equals P of x. So that's x squared minus 4x plus 3 minus -x plus 2, which becomes x squared minus 4x plus 3 plus x minus 2. And I combine like terms. So this becomes p of x is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 1. Part B. Find the break-even points by setting the profit function equal to 0 and solving for x. Okay, 0 is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 1. The first thing I noticed is that this is not going to factor because I would need to be able to multiply to 1 and add to negative 3, so that's not going to happen. So I either have to use the quadratic formula or I have to complete the square. I'm going to go quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let me plug these in. Negative b, a and c are both 1. All right. This becomes x is equal to positive 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 4 all over 2. That's x is equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of 5 all over 2. So we have the break-even points for these, and that's it. I suppose we should find this in terms of money because we're talking about money. So let me do in my calculator. 3, let's see, what's the square root of 5? 5 to the 0.5. That's 2.2. So I need 3 plus or minus 2. I'll use 2 decimals because it's money. 2, 4 all over 2. And I'll figure out what x can be. X is going to be equal to, let's do 3 plus 2.24, divide that by 2, $2.62. Oh, I need to produce 2.62 items to break even, or $0.38 items to break even. Does that make sense in terms of the story problem? Probably not. Usually, most businesses will need to produce more than 2 items in order to break even. However, what if this is fine art? Maybe you only need to sell 2 things. What if this is real estate? Maybe you only need to sell 2.62 houses on average a year in order to make enough money. I don't know. There are things where you don't need a lot of items. In any case, I hope you have a great day. This was the last checkpoint of the year as of 2023, and been some really good classes. Okay, signing off. Bye.